Well, okay. The trip to Teotihuacan, it was pretty cool. The Teotihuacan pyramids are at Mexico in the Mexico state, also known as Edomex, and it's Teotihuacan. It's it's a place and a UNESCO World Heritage place mainly, all about. And Teotihuacan stands for, well, in Nahuatl, the name comes from Nahuatl and it has two meanings. The first one is the place where people become gods, and the second is where it's the city of the sun. It means those two. It can be one of those two, but there's like linguistic problems, which some say it's the first one, some say it's the second. But why is it on Nahuatl? Well, it's basically on Nahuatl because when the Mexicas came, which talk Nahuatl, they found the pyramids abandoned by other civilizations that lived there long ago before them, and they named it like that. But the Mexicas were not the only civilizations living there. There were also the Toltecs and many other civilizations all across the Mesoamerican history, and they occupied it for centuries basically. So yeah, and the pyramids are pretty huge and tall, and they are bigger than they seem, and they are harder to get at the top than most people might think. You see a lot of merchants, by the way. And once you're at the top, you can feel the breeze, and you can see all, well, the beautiful landscape of Teotihuacan. The pyramids, you can either, well, the most big ones are the Pyramid of the Moon and the Pyramid of the Sun. The Pyramid of the Sun is the bigger one and the highest all above, and it's pretty huge in many ways. You can also on the trip, I remember seeing some dogs. A dog, he was cute. You see a lot of tourists, the merchants. They tend to sell stuff in to, well, obviously the people, but especially to foreign people, which is their main focus. But there's also, apart from that, you can see like a lot of pyramids. Some of them are restorations, some of them restoration are incomplete also, but it's still like the parts that are restored are beautiful in many aspects basically. And also, yeah, that's mainly it. But it's pretty cool because you connect, or well, a lot of people that, especially the ones with indigenous blood, can connect with their ancestors and be proud of it. Be proud about the Mesoamerican civilizations, and that's pretty good. It's incredible, especially for those people. And yeah, it's a place that most people, especially Mexicans, should visit. It's almost like I would say, a necessary trip to learn about Mexican culture in many ways. So yeah, thank you.
What I think I like the most from the field trip, well, also what I learned the most from the field trip to Teotihuacan, was that I was surprised by the fact that people in that day didn't only had the ways, or well, the energy, or like the motivation to to carry rocks to what could be the pyramid, and start building something of that size from the start to the top. I mean, I know that it wasn't made in like 1 or 2 days, but it's very surprisingly that this kind of architecture is preserved to this day. So that means that it wasn't only well structured, but it was made from a quality material, and that even though that the Mexican government protects it, it's actually very surprising the fact that it's actually there, and you could go see something that it has been there from hundreds of years. I think that's very amazing, the fact that history from that day, well, like something from that day, and what you could consider that history from today's epocha, will be will be preserved in such way that you could actually live it. You could actually go there and live how people from that day lived. I mean, not in an exact way, but you could literally stand on the same floor that people from that day did. In my case, I wasn't so attracted, like instantly attracted to all of the pyramids. Like my first impression was that, like historically, I was thinking like how they made all of the pyramids and how those people work on this type of area. I wasn't like so emotional by the fact that I was standing on one of the biggest pyramids in Mexico, if it is in all of the world. And the only pyramid that I actually climbed was the Pirámide del Sol. I didn't go to the Pirámide de la Luna or any other pyramid because I actually was like thinking of how you could see all of the kilometers and kilometers of ground, of cities, of all of the things that you could see from the top of the pyramid. So at first I went almost running to climb all of the pyramid and get to the top.
I like the fact that even though Teotihuacan is a long ago abandoned city, it still has people in it. Not only tourists, but also merchants in general who spend almost their whole day there selling products. I find it like surreal that they're in the same place that our ancestors were in a certain time. I find it funny also that those merchants sell Mexicans products way cheaper, and then they sell it much more expensive to foreigners to gain their costs.